Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. We're just starting to admit people into the Zoom. We should have most people in shortly, but we'll just wait a couple more seconds here so everybody has the chance to get in. Thanks so much for spending your lunch hour with us. We really appreciate it. Just a note that the session is being recorded and closed captions are turned on, and those should be available to anyone who needs them. We'll still wait just maybe till 12:01, but then we'll get started. All right, well, we'll continue to admit people as they come in, but we'll start moving along. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaya with Bike Pittsburgh. I'm going to be facilitating a bit of this workshop today with the lovely Carrie Tippin. Thank you all again for spending your lunch hour with us. And I think I said this already, but the session is being recorded and closed captions are available for anyone who needs them. So you can turn those on your end on Zoom. But we'll get right into things. I will stop sharing my screen. Thanks again to all of our sponsors of the WMNBikePGH program, as well as Bike Anywhere Week. We're really excited to be presenting this week of virtual and interactive activities and some in-person stuff. We hope to see you all tomorrow. We can answer any questions about that. But yeah, thanks for spending your lunch hour with us. I am going to hand it over now to the lovely Carrie. Thank you again. Carrie.
Hi, here I am. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I see names that I know. I see faces that I know. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a PowerPoint going on to kind of walk us through today. You'll see there at the top my information. I'm Carrie Tippin. I use she and they pronouns. For my day job, I am an English professor at Chatham University, and one of my dearly most favorite students is here in the room. Hi, Tess. Good to see you. So you can reach me by email if you have questions at the end of this. You can find me on Facebook, or I'm on Instagram at Wheel All Right. And we can talk more about bikes in wherever we are. So our conversation today, thank you for inviting me to talk about one of the things I care about most in the world, which is being a confident and comfortable cyclist. So our agenda today, our workshop is going to focus on how to be comfortable and confident on your bike, whether you're doing like a commute to work, or you're going on the trails, or you're camping, whatever it is that you're doing on your bike. You'll hear something that will be helpful for you there. We're going to talk about ways to make your bike more comfortable. Sometimes it's a thing that you can do to the machine to make your things feel better. Maybe things you do to your body to make it feel more comfortable. We'll talk about butts. It'll be awesome. We're going to talk about a little bit how to handle your bike to feel a little bit more comfortable, thinking about the traffic situations that can make you feel more confident. And then really, I want to sum up with just feeling good about biking, how you can cultivate that good feeling of joy. It's my favorite. So I want you to start by picturing it. Do a little visualization with me. You can close your eyes. You can turn off your camera for a second if you want to sit comfortably in your chair. And just think about why you came here, to be comfortable and confident. What does that mean to you with your specific body in the frame of your visualization? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Is there something that if you could do, you would know you were a confident and comfortable cyclist? Is there something you think confident riders do that maybe you don't do right now? So take a second, let that kind of marinate, and then throw some things in the chat when you're ready if you want. I'm going to let you unmute and shout out loud in a second too, but what does it look like to be confident? here's a couple of things on my list, and then I'm going to ask you. Uh, I knew I would be a confident cyclist if I could ride my bike down a hill, stop at the bottom at a stop sign, and not roll into traffic, right? If I could confidently know that when I squished my brakes, the bike would stop, and when I put my foot down, I would not fall over, right? That was comfortable, that was confident. Can I have somebody else say one? Becca is writing in the chat, being confident on my bike would be able to bike on the main roads like Penn Avenue and Forbes Avenue in big public areas. Yeah, getting on the big streets instead of the side trails or sidewalks. Love it. Anybody else? Knowing where I'm going, Christine says, right? Having a route and knowing that route like the back of my hand, right? Naomi, knowing when and how to shift gears. Yeah, good. I have nothing in here about shifting gears, but I will answer that question when we get to the bike part. Being confident would mean knowing the rules. Yeah, Shannon, that's one of the things I put on my list too, was that I could get honked at but know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And on the deepest level of my being, know that I'm right. So I can just say, bye, honker. I don't care about what you've said because I'm confident that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Deanna, carrying all the stuff I need with me no matter where I'm going. Going downhill fast. Yeah. The first time that you go downhill without touching your brakes until you get to the bottom. Heck yeah. Amy says making a left turn. I'm going to talk about turning just a little bit. Knowing what to do when the bike lane ends, Kristen. Yeah. Those are all great. Bye, honker. Yeah, that's me. Uh, Great. So I think those are all really wonderful, and I think it's really important to think about for yourself, like what will my body be doing when I am free? You know, like when I'm confident, what will my body feel like? What will my emotions be like? All of those things are great things to think about. Before we get into some information, I wanted to share a little bit of research that I did with a colleague from Chatham a couple of years ago. You might remember this at one of our last biking forums. We had a little survey that we put out and asked a lot of questions to people attending the survey or attending the forum about what made them feel like they wanted to bike more and what made them afraid to bike as much as they wanted to, right? What got in the way? So I wanted to share a little bit of that stuff, mostly as a basis for understanding what it means to be confident and comfortable. So 98 out of 110 respondents said that they want to bike more because it's pleasurable, because it's exciting and makes me feel happy. It improves my physical fitness. It's good for the environment, and it's a part of my political identity to be a cyclist. So I think it's important to start with those foundational things to just remember. This is why I'm on my bike, because I love it, because it makes me feel good, and because it's important work for me to do. Other things that people said help them bike more, other people to bike with, having access to your routes and streets and trails, like somebody wrote earlier. Feeling like my mental health got better. I saw improvement in how I feel emotionally and how I feel mentally. And I just feel more confident and more empowered the more I bike. So I think there's a specific link between confidence and biking, right? The more I bike, the more I feel confident. So if you're just getting started and you don't have that confidence yet, 84 out of 110 people say you'll get there, right? It's going to happen for you. But I think it's also important to talk about how very real are the things that keep people from biking as much as they want. So lots of people wrote things about being afraid of injuries, or not feeling safe on streets or cars, or near cars, or worrying about the weather. And then the very real worry of being harassed. Having experienced harassment or being afraid of experiencing harassment. So all of those things are real. They've all, I think they are real barriers, and they can kind of hurt your confidence. But I think that we can do things to get through these barriers, right? We can talk about how to be safe on the streets and give you some information that might help you feel more comfortable and more confident. We can talk about clothing for inclement weather that can help you kind of feel prepared for that. I don't know what to do about being harassed, but I do think a little bit of what I mentioned of like bye honker is that that feeling of like, well, that's on you, right? That's a you problem, and I'm safe and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So we can talk about that some more if you would like to. Other kind of the last bit of our survey about confidence and empowerment. Again, 80 respondents said, I feel more confident the more I cycle. And no one said that they felt less confident the more they rode. 108 of our respondents, almost all of them, agreed that bicycling can empower women and people who identify as women. And I think we can add more language to expand that in the future. But so this is my We Can Do It shirt. This is my Women in Bike Pittsburgh group ride. These are the people who help me feel more confident the more I ride. So I want to share, again, the last bit from the survey of things that people said. We asked them to sort of write in, how do you feel when you ride your bike? And a lot of them emphasize those really great feelings that come with just being on the road. It feels freeing. I don't think I wrote this, but I could have. I am my best self on my bicycle. I struggle with self-care and standing up for myself in real life, but on my bike, I take the center of the road. I make myself seen because I'd be putting myself in danger otherwise. I like the other one too. It felt so strong because people were like impressed with my bicycling, right? We're more capable than we think. So I think there's a lot about being confident on your bike that can make you just a confident person, right? They can translate into other areas of your life. So I hope that by the end of this presentation, you can relate to some of these ideas a little bit more. Okay, so from here on, I'm kind of dividing things into comfort first and then kind of confidence second. I hope you can see this guy in the image here of like a bicycle on a recliner on wheels. Bikes are not recliners on wheels, so they're sometimes not comfortable, right? You might feel tired, you might feel exhausted, you might feel friction. Those are all kind of discomforts that you might experience that I think are part of the process, right? They come with the territory. But I want to say very clearly here and many times over today, you shouldn't tolerate pain. Pain and discomfort are very different things. And if your bike is causing you pain in any part of your body, especially the kind that makes you afraid to get on your bike, do something about it. And I want to let you know that it's not you. It's not that you need to get stronger. It's not that you need to get thinner. It's not that you need to get tougher. Sometimes your bike needs to change. And we'll talk about those first. So where does your body touch the bike? Everywhere your body touches the bike is a place where you can do something about pain. So let's start with saddles. So the saddle is your bike seat. The picture that you see in the background, that's the very one that I have. Saddles that come on your bike, the factory installed ones, are not one size fits all. They're sort of meant to, but in the same way that one size fits all has never fit me, neither does your factory bicycle seat. So it's something that they kind of expect you to get rid of as soon as you buy a bike. There's different shapes of saddles. There's different sizes as far as like the width of the back and the length of the nose. There's different amounts of padding in the back. So there's lots of things that you can do to kind of make that saddle more comfortable. I would suggest first get measured. So I went to the Trek store in the Shadyside, East Liberty area, and they let me sit on a piece of paper. And that piece of paper marked kind of the position of my bones in my, I don't know what bone that is at your butt, my butt bones. And then they measured the space between those two marks, and that told me a size range of seats, seats that would be good for the size of my butt. So I started with that. But then they also have different kinds of seats for the different kind of riding that you're doing. So, and the position that your body will be in. So if you're on a cruiser bike, you're sitting kind of straight up with your arms kind of straight out, kind of up tall. That's going to put the most weight on the back of your butt. But if you're in kind of an aggressive drop bar, really the weight is on the front of your butt, right? In that sort of vagina vulva area. So a different shape of saddle is going to be very different from those kinds of riding that you're doing. Genitalia specific saddles exist. The one that you see on the screen from Terry is a women's specific. They have cutouts kind of in different places. So there's a kind of a gap there between those yellow, those little dots that can be, you know, a little extra space so you don't have pressure on your vulva. They have the same for men and for penises as well. You can also test them out and send them back. I absolutely recommend going into a store, you know, buying a saddle, riding it for 2 or 3 days, really getting a feel for it, and then take that thing back. If you don't like it, you don't have to commit to it. RAI especially has pretty generous return policies. Trek gave me a 30-day return on a saddle that I bought from them. So send it back, keep trying, do a lot of experimenting. There's no reason why you should, you know, continue to be in pain. And then the other things that you might check would be the height of your seat post. So it might be that what you're feeling is pressure on your butt isn't the shape of the saddle, it's the length of your stride, right? As your leg goes down and you stretch that leg out, maybe you're stretching it too far and kind of putting pressure on your bum. Or maybe your knees are too high and you're resting too much weight on your bum and you're not putting the weight in your feet. So that might be a problem. The angle of the saddle should be kind of flat to planet Earth in gravity, but you might feel that a little tip up can put weight in different places and pressure in different places. A little tip down can put weight in different places. So if you're feeling a lot of discomfort in the front or the back, maybe it's the angle you should look at. And then just the position of the saddle. It also can move forward and backwards, like pulling up your chair to the table. Again, that is going to change the geometry of your body and where you're leaning and where you're putting pressure. So that's the end of my saddles talk. Tell me if you have questions. I'll take a break for just a second. Do you have questions about your bike seat, about where to buy them, what to buy?
I was just thinking, I've never tried to adjust my tilt on my saddle, which is something that I'm going to try, you know, after this and see if that helps with a little bit of leg extension.
Yeah. And you really don't need any special tools to do that. Most bikes have the seat post is attached by things that you could just use a regular wrench on. So if you have an adjustable crescent wrench, you can probably do that yourself without anything very special.
That's awesome.
Cool. Maybe one more saddle question. Okay, cool. Do you feel
anything in the chat, but
okay? All right, well, I'll go on. Holler later if you want to. The next place where your body touches the bike is your hands, right? Oh, hold on. There it goes. So the grips and the handlebars are another place where you can customize and help yourself feel more comfortable. This is a picture again of the grips that I have. They have a kind of a pressure pad here for your wrist so that you're kind of keeping your hand in a neutral position. And they also have the ability to go this direction. So you've got kind of 2 positions that your hands can be in. I have carpal tunnel, so I do have trouble with that. I have trouble with my hands getting tired or numb on rides. So I like to move my hands around a lot. So I don't stay in one position for too long, kind of in close, out far, in this direction, one hand behind my back while I stretch, right? Just a lot of movement. You can also try different handlebars. So I had a bike that had the drops and I just hated it. I couldn't get grip strength enough to brake in that position. I got really tired really soon. It just wasn't the right shape for me. So I switched back to a flat bar and I kind of like that. So some of that can be customized on your bike. You can adjust, again, the height of the handlebars. You can do a little bit of adjustment on the angle of those bars that again gives you different postures to work in. You can also, moving your seat might relieve pressure on your hands. So if you can lean back further, you can put less of your weight on your wrists and on your hands. Callie has sent me a message to talk about good posture. And I don't know, I have terrible posture, both as a human and as a cyclist. But I do think that posture, like a good posture, is the one that's right for you and the kind of riding that you're doing. So again, depending on the shape of your bike, you'll have a completely different posture. Again, a cruiser, a trail bike, an aggressive road bike, all of those have a different kind of posture. And then I always wear gloves. I always wear gloves when I bike. I wear gloves because they make my hands feel better. And because if I fall off of a bike, I know I'm going to hit my hands, right? I might hit my head. I'm definitely going to hit my hands. So kind of keeping my hands protected. I'm also kind of a baby about my fingernails. So I like wearing my gloves. So any questions about grips or handlebars you want to talk about? These are ultimately the most customizable part of your bike. You can throw them away. You can put something new on. Any other thoughts? I'll give you 7 seconds.
We'll also have lots of opportunity for Q&A after this, I'm sure. So keep thinking on those questions.
Yeah.
We can get to anyone. If you want to put them in the chat, we can come back to them.
Absolutely. It's the teacher in me that has to check at the end of each slide if my audience is with me. And then finally, fitting of your bike. I would suggest getting a professional fitting when you buy a new bike. If you're buying a bike from a shop, I think you can also bring your bike to a shop and do a fitting. But what that looks like is they kind of hook your bike up into a stationary trainer, and then you pedal, and someone watches you pedal, and they say, you know what, I think that seat could be a millimeter higher. You get off, they raise it, you do it again. You let them know kind of how every part of your body feels. Do you want to be more up? Do you want to be more down? That can be a really good way just to have someone ask you the question. I remember, so the bike that you see on the right of the screen, when I bought that bike, I got a professional fitting, and he just asked me questions that I'd never thought of before. Like, how does it feel on this part of your body? How do you feel on that part? So that's something that you can do as well. And then get the right kind of bike for the riding you want to do. If these are both me. The bike on the left, that's my kind of touring trail bike, my commuter bike, and it's completely different from the bike on the right, which is a road bike. The tires are different, the handlebars were different, the heights. I mean, if you can kind of tell, like, they're very different heights and sizes of bike. And my partner was riding a mountain bike, and he just kept complaining about everything. Everything hurt, and he wanted to change this and he wanted to change that. And I think by the end of it, we decided it's just the wrong kind of bike. It's the wrong position for his body. It's just not doing the work that he needed it to do. So having the right kind of bike can do a lot to make you feel comfortable and confident. Naomi asked in the chat about queer-friendly bike shops you recommend. I would love to hear what you all think. Does anyone have a bike shop to recommend? I can always recommend Kindred Cycles as a woman-owned and friendly shop. I don't know if Rocky at Cranix will do fittings for you, but I just am in love with Rocky at Cranix as a human person. So that's great. Okay, so let's talk about your body. That was your bike. So we can do things to your bike to make you feel more comfortable. Let's talk about what you can do to your body to feel better. Your butt and your thighs, right? We've already kind of talked about saddles and your butt, but I like bike shorts. Not everybody does. They can be, again, genitalia specific, but I don't know how much of a difference that makes about which kind of shorts kind of fit better for other people. Men's shorts are usually a little bit cheaper. And I do find that even though there's kind of a move towards more size inclusivity in bike wear, sometimes you have to pay for the larger sizes. I have a real hard time finding bike shorts and bike specific gear that are in the sizes I need. But they can be really helpful on your butt, right? Especially if you don't wear underwear under them. That's kind of, the fewer pieces of fabric you have rubbing it together, the less friction you're going to feel on your skin. Use friction preventers like the chamois butter. So there's a lotion that is specific for using with these shorts on the skin, and if your brand allows it, on the pad. Monostat makes a nice anti-chafe lotion that's kind of a gel that turns to a powder, and I like that a lot. And I learned from the biking forum a couple of years ago about a biker balm that you can make at home that's equal parts Vaseline, castor oil, and jojoba oil, and then a little bit of patchouli. And that I've been using for 3 years. So when I get off the bike and I'm feeling, irritated, I rub that stuff on there, and it's just nice and moisturized and kind of soothing. I don't know. But do not ignore pain, especially skin issues. You can really get yourself in trouble if you let these things go. So if you're having trouble with chafing, you're having pain in your skin, ask somebody for help, right? Check with a doctor, check with an experienced cyclist and see if there's something that you can do, but definitely don't ignore it. All right, let's talk about vulvas and vaginas. I had, I guess 2 summers ago, I was having a lot of trouble with yeast infections. I ended up with a Bartholin cyst, which is kind of like a hard knot. It's a blocking of one of the lubricating ducts. It's kind of painful. It's no fun at all. So I did find that the best way to take care of that is to take my shorts off ASAP. Like as soon as I get done riding, I got to get those clothes off and try not to stay sweaty too long. Keeping wet wipes to clean and refresh. I sometimes, when I'm doing like a day long ride, I'll bring a second pair of shorts to switch in the middle of the day so that I can kind of clean up in the middle. And there's lots of products out there right now that are vulva oils and vulva specific kind of healthcare products that are kind of pH balanced. I use one from a brand called Quim that's a CBD oil. It's called what is it called? Happy Clam Everyday Oil. And it's nice, right? It keeps things lubricated. It prevents ingrown hairs. It kind of keeps that pH balance so that you're not having the kind of yeast issues. There's a lot going on in your vulva and vagina when cycling. I no longer menstruate. I have an IUD, so I don't do menstruation anymore. Praise whatever, flying spaghetti monster or whatever. But I would love to hear from you all. Do you have vulva vagina advice, especially for people who are menstruating while cycling? Any hot tips out there? Cool.
I will put in a plug for period underwear. I use NYX.
Ooh.
They're wonderful. Just discovered that over the past year, and they're super fun.
Yeah, Christine is saying the Black Foxes had an excellent discussion about menstruation while biking a few months ago. Is that a podcast, Christine? Oh, thank you. Thank you for the link. Great. Yeah, I also listened to a podcast called The Femme Cyclist, and they had an episode about especially saddle sores, right? So that friction and things like that. So definitely lots of people with help for those things. Cool. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about clothing. Clothing, you want to be comfortable. You want to be able to move. You want to be warm enough when it's cold and cold enough when it's warm. I wish I could be the kind of person who showed up to places on my bike dressed, but I'm not that person, and I'm aware of that for myself. My head is too sweaty. Can't do it. So I'm really not comfortable biking in anything less stretchy than yoga pants. I've tried to do the kind of stretch dress pant or something like that, or a very stretchy jean, but I'm not a fan. I wish I liked the little skater dresses that people wear, but comfort doesn't just mean being comfortable moving, it means being comfortable being perceived as yourself. So even though those are really nice, they don't work with my identity, right? They don't work with who I want to be seen as. So that's something to think about as well. But I think probably my best tip is just to be visible and to do what feels right for you. There's not a right thing to wear. Experiment, figure things out for yourself. My very favorite outfit is red yoga leggings. I have a really bright blue long sleeve shirt, and I have a high vis yellow hoodie that I bought at Walgreens that I cut the sleeves off. And so it's like a vest hoodie. Um, so I dress like not a real person when biking. So if that's you, you're totally free to do that. Okay. Before we go in, anything you want to say about clothing or vulvas? More questions about that? Are you ready? Cool. Okay. So the kind of last part of this is, now what to do for your bike, what to do for your body. What do you need to do for your brain to like get your brain into the space where it's comfortable doing what you need to do? So for bike handling, I think that's probably the baseline, right? I want to make my bike do what I want it to do. And when I tell it to stop, it will stop. And when I tell it to go, it will go, right? When I tell it to turn, it will turn. So I absolutely recommend getting on the Bike Pittsburgh Confident City Cycling class. I teach that class now. I took it 6 years ago as a student, and it changed my life. We do on-bike drills. There's a group ride at the end. So I'm hoping that soon, when COVID restrictions are kind of more balanced, we can return to doing some of those classes. It's my favorite part of the summer. So the two things that I think you could take away from that class that are the most important to feeling comfortable and confident is starting and stopping. So we start in what's called the power position. So you've got your pedal, your dominant foot up, and your other foot on the ground in kind of a tripod. And instead of skate starting with that ground foot, you start by pressing really hard on that up pedal, and that gets you going immediately. So you're not like getting on your bike after it's moving, you pop on and get it going. And then making sure that when you stop, you know which foot is going where. So I have a little rhyme for myself, right? I do even pressure on my little thing. Then I do right pedal down, left foot on the ground every time. And I can do it now so gracefully that I'm like that girl who in the art who's like rising on the foam and she just like comes to the shore. That's what it's like for me to stop on my bike these days. Uh, so right pedal down, left foot on the ground, and then I say right toe to lift my pedal back up, and then I'm ready to go. So that's my hot tip. And then for cornering, someone said, I'll know I'll be confident if I can make a left turn. Here's my advice for cornering. Your body follows your eyes. So the turn of a corner is not here in your hands, it's eyes, chin, belly button. And when you move those things, your hands will move with you, and so will the bike. So keeping your focus where you want to go. If you look down at your tire, that's kind of where you're going to end up. So keep your eyes up. Again, this is much more fun to talk about when you're on your bike. You can practice it. Traffic rules. This looks like a lot, but it's not very many in the end. The basic bottom line is be a pal, be predictable, be aware, and be lawful. So predictable means riding your bike in a straight line. So even though there's room on the shoulder in this parking lane, I could move over, but I'd have to move back in a minute because there is a car in the lane and then I could move back. That's going to make you unpredictable. That's going to make it hard for you to be seen. So be predictable, ride in a straight line. You can be predictable by using your hand signals, right? Indicate with your right, your left hand where you're going to go. Stopping is this one if you're going to stop. Let people know with your hands where you're going to go. I also say make your body big on a bike. Sometimes you can communicate to cars where you want to go just by standing up on your pedals a little bit. Or spreading your arms out a little bit so that you're a little more visible. It looks like you're about to do something, and you can kind of be predictable in that way. Aware, obviously, like what's going on in front of you. We talk about high beam vision, looking up, but also low beam vision, looking for hazards that are on the road. So being aware of all of those things. It also means having your ears open. It is not lawful, I don't think, to ride with earbuds. but it's also not a great idea if you're feeling uncomfortable. You want to be able to hear if something is coming, right? What's coming behind you, what's coming to the left and right of you. You do your echolocation like a bat to know where you are. And then be lawful. So the laws include stopping at all stop signs, stopping at red lights, basically acting like a car, right? When in doubt, act like a car. You are a moving vehicle and you are entitled to all the privileges there too, right? So that means you can be in the lane. You're a moving vehicle, just like other cars, but also you are, subject to all the same laws. So how do you make a left turn in a car? You get in the left lane, you signal, and you turn. So how do you make a left turn on a bike? You get in the left lane, you signal, and you make your turn, right? So when in doubt, act like a car. I say when in doubt, act like a tractor. So that's a slow moving car. That's a car that is not responsible for other people's good days. That is a car that does what it needs to do. So it's not about making yourself small so that cars can get around you, or being polite and getting out of other people's way. That's not what tractors do. Tractors tractor. So that's you. You're a tractor. The last thing I will say there on the screen is 311 and Port Authority. The people I have most trouble with are not cars, it's buses. So you can always report potholes, things that you see, debris in your bike lane, buses that are not paying attention, to Port Authority and 311. Oh, thank you for sharing also that Bike Pittsburgh has a YouTube channel for videos on how to ride. Thank you, thank you. Before I do that one, do you want to ask me any questions about traffic rules? Are you feeling okay about anything in particular, like a sticky situation that you need to know what to do?
You can feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions directly if you don't want to type it out.
Yes, please.
Carrie, I have a question.
Yes, Deanna.
How do you build up your confidence when maybe part of your commute is like a long climb or a big hill because you'd be going slow and you're with traffic?
Yes, I have that on my route. So I go on Forbes Avenue between Braddock and Dallas, and it's a pretty steep hill. There is a nice bike lane, thank goodness. So I can kind of take it slow, and everybody just moves, does their own thing in the two lanes that are free. But I also don't go that way all the time. One of the ways that I build confidence is deciding I don't have to do it today. So I have an alternate route that goes through Frick Park a little bit and through Point Breeze and then kind of up to Shady Side from there. And then I also have a motto that is any distance, any speed, that I learned from an older gentleman who volunteers for Free Ride. And so there are no gold stars for jamming up the hill as hard as I can every day. And there are no demerits for getting off and walking a little bit. So I build my confidence by not rewarding myself for good work and not punishing myself for taking a break either when I need it. Shannon is asking, what if a bicycle needs to pass another bike in a bike lane in the city? Yeah, you can get in the lane. The be in the bike lane is really the rule, as long as that bike lane is safe, as long as that bike lane is clean and clear, free of debris and other things. And if the bike lane is not working for you, you signal, you look, you get in the traffic lane, and then you pass, just like you would pass a tractor, right? If you were a car, that's what you would do too. Yeah, cool. Any other thoughts? Okay, so 2 t-shirts, buy a honker and be a tractor. Yes, please.
So I'm trying to like ride a bike again. Like I haven't ridden in a long time. And I'm also taking my daughter who's 10, but has some disabilities. So we're pretty slow together. And we went down to the bike trail, south side. And so that's a two-way, right? 2-direction bike lane. And it was very intimidating and overwhelming because people did not like how slow we were going and
Mhm.
kind of yelling at us or making rude comments, or passing aggressively. So I just wasn't sure if you had any ideas about how to handle that or.
And those are other bikes passing you like that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh no. I am also sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
Christine says. I think on trails, I just sort of practice not giving a shit about other people's feelings, Naomi.
Well, it's not that I really care about their feelings. It's that they're impinging on
I agree.
my daughter and I, her wanting to be there.
Right.
It's not, it's a hard enough thing for her to ride a bike, but then to also feel intimidated by adults who can't control themselves is another thing. So I don't know. I guess I'm maybe part of it also is I'm wondering if there's more like friendlier trails than others, things like that.
That's a good question. I think that would be a really good one to like kick out to the whole crew. Where are places that feel? Are there times of day? Are there days of the week? Are there trails that feel more maybe family friendly? I often do the Gap Trail from the Rankin Homestead site, kind of down towards downtown. And I find that one to be nice and broad and open at different times of day. And maybe it's because I kind of go by myself, but I don't often encounter that particular kind of aggressive rider. They're mostly joy riders who are nice. And then if you want to go the opposite direction from Homestead, you kind of go out into the countryside. There's a couple of kind of rail where you have to cross the railroad tracks, and they have a bit of an incline, these ramps. But the further you go away from downtown, the fewer riders that you see.
Okay.
So if that's an accessible trail for you, I would suggest that as well.
Thank you.
I was just gonna pop in and say, like, the trails on the weekend can be very busy and hectic. And if that was maybe when you had that experience, not to say that that experience should happen to anyone, because the trails are literally for everyone. So people who want to ride fast and aggressive should not be there. But if you have the ability to maybe try again during the week or a weeknight, just from my experience, they are a little bit more relaxed and chilled, not on the weekends. I think that's when a lot of folks are out. But it's hard. You have every right to be there. They are supposed to be family friendly. They're supposed to be for beginners. So, I'm also sorry that was your experience, because that creates another barrier to like want to get back out there. And
thank you.
It's just such a bummer.
And having disabilities is a barrier because people are not understanding or patient.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Jackie says, I speak up when I see cyclists harassing other cyclists. And I think, there are some of us allies who could do a little bit more of that, right? I think I could probably be a part of that solution as well, just by, getting to tell more people how, to behave. Okay, great. A couple of other people are putting in the chat other trails. So thank you for that. Okay, let's talk about fixing your bike. Oh, Jackie, which is the best and most friendly way to pass other people walking? Oh, yeah. What's the best way? I try to be, I have a bell. So sometimes I do a little bell, ting, ting. And then I say, on your left, and then kind of make that move. And I try to make that sound earlier rather than later, because there's always that what sound, and they look both ways, and then like that indecision. So giving people enough time, so like a ding ding, a couple of seconds, on your left, bike coming, and then kind of make that move around people. Okay, fixing your bike. This is my nephew, he's 13, and we worked on his bike together. Fixing your bike. So one of the ways, again, to feel confident and comfortable on the road is knowing that when something happens, you can take care of it. That you can feel safe knowing that your bike is gonna get you where you wanna go. And when it breaks down, you know where to go. First of all, I would say do your ABC quick check before you leave the driveway. There's a wonderful Bike Pittsburgh video about what the ABC quick check is. But that's checking your air, that's checking your brakes, that's checking your chain and cassette, and then all of your quick releases. So kind of give your bike a once over before you leave the driveway. And if you fix it before you leave the house, you probably won't have an accident mid-ride. right? If you know that your air level is great when you left, it'll probably be great when you get back. The things that might happen in a mid-ride would be like your chain falling off. That's probably the most common issue. And truly, you grab it and you put it back on. That's it. It's messy, so you might keep a bandana or a spare set of gloves in your back pocket when you ride. And if it's happening a lot, you might need to check some of your tensions in your cables and things like that. Tires do go flat. Again, I think if you checked it before you left, it might not go flat on you mid-ride, but should that happen, there are lots of nice videos from Bike Pittsburgh about how to change a flat. So, traveling with your own tubes, you can also, they have nice little, tiny air pumps that you can travel with. It takes a little minute to do it on the side of the road, but it's not too bad. One of the things that could happen is your bike falls over and your derailleur bends. That's the thing that moves your chain up and down the cogs. And if that thing gets bent, it can get sucked into the tires and rip the whole thing off, and it's terrible. So that's like a thing that you just have to do that. You just have to push it. So that's something that could happen mid-ride. I would also say get used to the sounds that your bike makes. If you hear a squeal, if you hear a rattle, if you hear a chink, 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 if you hear any of those kinds of sounds, it could be something that you could diagnose and then wiggle, and you would never end up with that catastrophic issue. So regularly cleaning your bike, kind of keeping track of the tire pressure, those things are going to kind of keep you safe on the road. From my own experience of biking in the city for 6 years, of taking some big long trail rides, the only thing that's ever happened to me, like broken about my bike, is the chain falling off. And one time I broke a spoke. That's not really a thing that happens too frequently. So I think with some very minimum preparation before you leave and a little bit of information and some tools in your bag, you can feel confident that your bike is going to take you where you want to go. There's also 2 videos of me doing DIY bike maintenance lessons, so we can look for those too. Let's talk about crashes and accidents. Crashes and accidents are 2 different things. A crash is something that's preventable. Someone broke a rule, they caused a collision, that's a crash. And an accident is not preventable. That's a thing that just happens. So we need to think about, what can we do to prevent crashes? They're not the norm. I think they're rarer than you think. Again, 6 years of biking in the city, and I've never been in a crash. The only time I have fallen over on my bike was my fault. Just me falling down with no one around. So you avoid your crashes by being a pal, like I said, being predictable, being where you can be seen, being visible, keeping in a straight line, using your signals, making eye contact with drivers before you turn in front of them, right? Those things you can do by being aware and following the rules. And you should have a healthy respect for vehicles. I think that's important. They are hurtling projectiles. So, watch out for them and be aware. And then maybe practice your quick stops. So when you're not in a tense situation, when you're in your driveway, when you've got some time on the trail, practice making a hard stop really fast. And remember, right pedal down, left foot on the ground. So stop, left foot down, right? And practicing that can kind of help you get it when you need it to stop quickly. If you are in a crash, Bike Pittsburgh has a nice crash card that you can keep in your bag that you can use to collect information from other people. It has a very helpful list of like the relevant laws. So you can say, this is the law you broke when you crashed into me. Or I was in the right. Can't you, do you see that I have a right to be in this particular lane? So having that crash card can be something that makes you, again, feel a little bit more confident that should something happen, you're prepared. But also, again, remember, it just doesn't happen all of that often. Okay, let's move into confidence. So again, think about, visualize a thing at which you have complete confidence, right? You know that you are in the right. How did you get there? Probably practice, right? So remember from that survey data, everyone said the more I cycle, the more confident I get. I feel more confident when I bike. I've built my skills over time. All of that kind of happens through practice. So my message to you is don't wait until you're confident to begin. That confidence will kind of come to you over time. So how do we develop that confidence over time? I have 4 rules. 1, notice. Spend some time while you're biking just noticing that you feel good. When you're happy, when I laugh at myself quite a bit on my bicycle, I get tickled by flowers, like um, so pay attention to those good feelings when your endorphins and your serotonin are going. Notice it, pay attention, and then notice also when things are not feeling right. Notice those sounds when your bike might be not functioning properly. Notice the pressure on your bum. Notice how your hands are feeling and respond to what you notice. Don't keep riding, right? Don't keep pushing through it. Don't keep hoping you'll get tough enough for it. Respond to it. Look up while you are riding. Look up, look for opportunities to do something fun, greet other bikers and walkers, look at the scenery, plan your route to pass by something cool, act like a happy person, I say. It is badass to ride your bike, but it doesn't have to be a badass experience, right? It can be pleasurable just for pleasure. I say dodge the challenging uphills. Do not go up them if you don't want to. Take up space. Again, confident people don't shrink to the margins just because someone wants them to. Confident people take their lane. Confident people go at their own pace. Confident people say, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Learn to live with it. That's a practice that will take you a nice long while. And then tell a positive story. You may hear me, especially on Wheel All Right on Instagram, I tend to talk about nothing happening on my bike ride. All of the times that I get to where I'm going and nothing happened, good or bad, I just got it. So kind of avoid rehearsing or replaying those negative experiences. I tend to not tell people when bad things happen to me. I try to kind of keep the story light and positive. Don't bike sometimes. If you are feeling very uncomfortable or very unconfident, don't go. Don't go that way. Don't go that day. Try a different place, right? Give yourself permission not to bike sometimes. So here's kind of my last note, and then we can kind of turn it open for more Q&A. Again, you don't have to be some kind of superhero or badass to ride a bike, even if it makes you feel that way. Normal people do it. People of all sizes do it. People of all ability levels do it. So you don't have to do it at the hardest level possible. Don't wait to feel confident and comfortable. Start where you are. Notice, build your confidence as you go. And then for each positive interaction, hold on to it. Talk about it. Think over it. Rehearse that and let that help you feel better each time you ride. So that's it for me today. There's my contact information there. Again, you can find me on Facebook at Carrie Helms Tippin. Tomorrow is my birthday. So I currently have a little Bike Pittsburgh fundraiser going on Facebook in honor of my birthday. So donate in my honor if you would like to. And again, you can find me on email, on Instagram. I'm not being paid to say become a Bike Pittsburgh member, but you should become a Bike Pittsburgh member. So I'll leave that on the screen for a little while. Are there any things that I did not cover? We didn't cover shifting gears. Do you want me to take 2 seconds to describe that? Okay, so shifting gears, your left hand is your front gears, and those change the tension a lot. So if you go to a harder to pedal gear, that will change it to really hard, really fast, or really easy, really fast. And then your right hand does your back gears, and those are what I call fine focus. So shifting that will do a little bit of resistance. The basic thing that you need to know is that if you're getting ready to go uphill, or you're going to need gravity is going to give you more resistance, you can release tension in your bike by moving to a lower number generally. That lower number will do less resistance. But if you find you're going downhill or you are flat and you're just like pedal, 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 but you're not getting any faster, increase the tension so that each pedal is more efficient. And that's typically going to a higher number. So yeah, sometimes to gear down again to that softer would be coming towards a stop sign, coming towards an incline that's ahead of you. That can kind of help you get started more easily and efficiently. And then times to make it harder to pedal, again, going downhill or when you're kind of in a nice comfortable flat and you want to feel them legs burn. That would be good. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes. Anything else we should discuss?
Yeah, feel free to put questions in the chat. If you want to just raise a hand and then unmute yourself. I'm going to stop sharing your screen, Carrie, so we can all see each other.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Shannon, how do you know if a bike trail is one way or not? I'm assuming that means you have to go all the way to the end. Oh, like is it a like as a loop, if it's going to be a loop or not? Usually they have kind of maps at the front, at the trailheads that kind of give you a sense of whether they're one directional or if they make loops. Most of them, I would say, are one, not one way, but are like straight lines from one point to another. Is that your question, Shannon? Did I interpret that correctly? Right. Okay. Yeah. Becca, this is kind of specific, but how do I know if my tire is going flat or if I just weigh too much or something? Well, that's not the right answer. When I fill my tires, they feel full and good, but my friend said my back tire looked as if it was flat as I was riding. I just started riding my old bike again this week. Are there weight limits on tires? Becca, I don't think so. It might be that you just haven't, like the pressure that you feel with your fingers is not the same as the pressure that the tire needs. So if you look carefully at your tire, it will have an embossed writing that says the PSI, how much air needs to be in that tire. And it could be that by your fingers, it feels tight enough, but not for the kind of bike that it is. So if you can find like a bike pump that has a gauge on it to let you know what pressure, that will kind of help with that. But no, it's not you. Mira is asking about bike insurance, like auto insurance that will cover it if it's your fault. That's a good question. I know that my damage to my bicycle is covered under my homeowner's policy, my renter's insurance policy. Bikes can often be covered under those. But as far as like accidents, I'm not sure. Does anybody have a good answer about that? Me neither. That's a good question. All right. Anything else I can help with in 2 to 3 minutes? Okay. Then my last question, again, you can unmute yourself and just holler. What's one way that you think you're going to be more confident or more comfortable? Did you hear something today that you are going to check out when you leave? I am going to get some gloves. I am going to make biker balm. I'm going to buy vulva oil. Naomi.
I'm gonna check a lot of things, my bike seat,
Yeah.
handlebars, just like all those tips on like stuff to check. And then that last question about the air in the tires, I feel similarly. They look fine, and then when I ride the bike, it seems like they're being flattened. So thank you for all this information. Oh yeah, and gotta go to Kindred Cycles. Goals, I don't know what it's called. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Tess also says they're going to Kindred to get a tune-up. I think that's a great idea. And to learn more about fixing your own bike, there's Free Ride. That's a good place to learn more about fixing your own bike. And again, Cranix is a great place to learn about fixing your own bike. Becca's going to adjust their seat. Check out Free Ride, Christine says. Watch lots of YouTube videos by Bike Pittsburgh. Yes, Sarah. I also recommend Park Tools videos. If you have questions about maintenance, Park Tools always has the best videos for instructions to fix things. All right, Deanna's going to remember to take up space on the road. Yeah, get real big. Get real big. It's gonna be great. And be like loudly neon.
Yeah, Carrie
And
is.
look, yeah, go ahead, Kia.
Oh, I was just going to say in-person classes will hopefully be back very soon. We're looking right now. We have a women and non-binary bike summit that will be coming up at the end of June that we hope you all join us for. There will be more workshops that will be hopefully as informative, if not more than this one. But this was really wonderful, Carrie. Thank you so much. And then as part of that, as part of the Women Non-Binary Bike Summit, I think I can let this information out into the public now, but we will have a group ride that's going to be part of that. So look for more information on that coming soon. But again, thank you so much. I learned so much. The chat is going wild. We have lots of links there for you to learn more. Again, if anybody would like to visit us at a commuter cafe tomorrow, we will be at the Bike Pittsburgh office in Lawrenceville, as well as at Sally's Path in Bakery Square. So if you want to come learn more, talk to us in person, get a free gift if you want to become a member. We'll have free gifts for everyone who signs up as a member this month. But yeah, just another big thank you to Carrie. That was really, really wonderful. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and we have hit 1 o'clock, so I'm going to say bye to everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate it. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye. Oh, I've seen the waves.